Yes. So a quick definition before we start today's session on how to control the mind. So the understanding from Bhagavad Gita is we have this body, hands, and legs. They're made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Okay, they're all dead matter. And we have a subtle body, which is called
This
as
type of gas
intelligence
and it
and
discuss expression
also. Okay. Use
this type of gas
this
now
input.
and discuss any time related query receive the documents I can handle it like this.
Yeah. So sorry for that. So we have been given this body depending on whatever desires we have from our mind. Our mind, intelligence, and false ego are our subtle body. So if you go to the next time sharing the screen, so we'll go back to the previous screen. So if you see here, we are not this particular body. We are not our mind. Okay, then who we are? We are the spirit soul. Okay, so we are the soul which is sitting inside this particular body. We call it as Atma. And the soul fulfills all the desires through the mind, if you see. Okay. So when the soul is present in a body, which means it is conscious, it is in its conscious state. Okay. So the consciousness is nothing but the energy which flows from the soul to this particular body. Okay. And this particular body includes our brain as well. Your mind is not your brain. The subtle body, the intelligence, which has all the knowledge of what you have done in your previous lives. Okay. And the mind, how you make decisions. Your mind can either say that, okay, this is good or this is bad, whether this can be done or this cannot be done, depending on what your mind can make decisions, depending on your intelligence. So, your intelligence in the hierarchy, your intelligence will always be superior to your mind. Okay, so your intelligence will always be superior to your mind. So that's what Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. You need to have spiritual intelligence of who you actually are. What are you doing in this particular world? If you don't have that intelligence, then your mind will make bad or wrong decisions, which is not aligned with the actual purpose of human life. And false ego. What is false ego? We all have ego. Ego means your identity. Now, false ego. False ego means us identifying ourselves with this particular body. That is called as false ego. I am this particular body. This is my house. This is mine. I want to do this. I want to do that. So that is all because of your false identification of who you are. You are not this particular body. You are a spirit soul. You are not a human being who dies in a particular body for a certain number of years. That is not the identity. So in the previous class, I gave an example. I think that example resonates very well. So we have, there is a lot of, there was a Russian scientist who performed an experiment. So he kept a mouse inside a cage. The mouse was roaming outside. So in the cage, he put two holes on the top. And on the one side, the mouse was outside the cage before, by the way, okay? And on one side, when it comes inside the cage, one side on top, there is an electrode which gives shock. And one side, there is some cheese, right? It goes for the cheese. So the mouse goes this side, goes to the electrode, gets shocked, and goes to the other side, gets cheese. So then it does that many times, and then it is finally trained. Okay, fine. If I go this side, I get cheese. Okay, fine. The scientist now turned the cheese and the electrode the opposite directions. So what the scientist did, he changed the sides. So now when the mouse thinks this side it has cheese, it gets shocks. Then it again learns, okay, I get cheese here. So, and again, the scientist kept changing. So after three or four more interchanges, just by four or five iterations, when the scientist opened the cage, the mouse didn't want to leave. That's the point. So this human form of life is like for us having the cage opened, the soul, the mouse is the soul, right? It is roaming inside a cage, chasing after happiness. Okay, this gives me happy, money makes me happy, this person makes me happy, I want to be with this person, this house makes me happy. So we all are chasing for happiness, like the mouse is chasing for cheese. And when the scientist changes the position of the cheese and the electrode, that is like when we are given a different body. That is the simplest understanding of what Krishna is communicating to Arjuna in the entire second and third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So when the cage is open, the mouse still thinks, I keep getting cheese here. But it doesn't know what is the effort it is putting by being inside the cage to get the cheese. It can still get the cheese outside as well. The cheese is happiness. So inside the cage, inside this body, the happiness we have is temporary happiness. Okay? And if the temporary happiness is attained, then we become happy. If the temporary happiness is not attained, then we become angry. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So, how our mind functions basically, depending on this particular subtle body, right? Intelligence. So, this intelligence is not just your impressions, right? Your mind is like a snapshot, it's like a camera. Whatever you do, so I gave this example in the previous class as well. So, whatever you do, say when I listen to a particular song, this is something which I can personally connect, which I feel that you all will relate to. Whenever I listen to a song which I listened 20 years back, when I listen to that, after so many years, all of a sudden it'll be a deja vu. Like, I have so many things happened in my life at that point in time. I become some sort of like emotion sprouts. So that's exactly, the kind of feeling, right? So these are all coming from what impression that your mind has created when you are going through that particular moment. It is like lot of data. That is so depending on what is your intelligence, depending on what is your understanding of what is life. Okay, so depending on what is your understanding of what is life, you would have observed or interacted with that particular person or with that particular thing at that point in time in your life. So, depending on your interactions, you leave impressions. So, the impressions can be from previous lives as well as in this life. That is your observation or your understanding of what is the world, what is human form of life. And depending on that impressions, your intelligence accesses that impressions and it gives a conclusion to your mind, yes or no. And then you have a desire. I will give one more example. So when I was studying in my hostel, right, couple of friends, they all used to go out for a cigarette every night. So at one night, one of them, I got the story, this I just recollected this couple of days back. So one of them said that, 11 o'clock I wanted to have a cigarette. And then both of them goes out. And then the other third friend said, no, I'm not joining. No, this is too late. And then they both set out and they roamed and roamed and roamed. They went across like 10, 20 kilometers. And then they found a shop that sells cigarettes. And like, okay, great, fantastic. They had a coffee, they had a cigarette, and they came back. The time was 1:30. So the third friend, he asked, so he was basically a non-smoker, non-drinker. So he asked that two other guys, 11 o'clock you started from here, and time is now 1:30. You guys are again in the same position, and 2.5 hours has gone. What has changed in between? His mind. Their mind changed in between. They had a new desire. They wanted temporary happiness. And then they were able to fulfill their temporary happiness. If they're not able to fulfill, then you get angry, sad, all the other emotions comes in wherein you lose the complete connection with your intelligence. You lose this complete connection. So, especially when you are angry, the complete connection from anger with your intelligence is completely gone. Okay, so let me stop here. I'll take some questions before we move forward. I'm stopping my screen sharing. So, any questions so far before we move to the shloka? Any questions on what Krishna talks about? So, we understand what is mind, what are impressions. So, okay, I think I forgot to share one more slide. Now we'll go back to that picture basically. So, if I go back to the previous slide now here, I'm not able to switch slides. Give me a minute. Okay, so anybody has any questions before I get that slide up? Anybody has any questions until here? So all the people who have joined, new, any questions? Any questions from anybody? Who all do we have? So Adarsh, how are you going? Are you good? Are you able to understand?
Yes, I'm doing good.
Okay. So if you see my screen, are you guys able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in this particular screen, if you see right, on the top we have a picture which I was talking about. So we are clear of what is this gross body when I use the terminology and what is a subtle body, right? And the next particular screen, it shows. Are you able to see my next screen? Yet? Yes. And this next particular screen, this is the screen which we saw how our actual subtle body interferes with the nature of this particular world. So if you see in this particular screen, so we have a picture, right, on the left-hand side. So this picture is the heart of human life. Okay, so if you see this particular picture here, we have the five horses. The horses are nothing but your senses, your eyes, nose, ears, hands, and your genitals. And then the horse chariot driver is the intelligence, and the passenger is the soul. The chariot is the body, and the mind is the rope. Okay, and our soul passes on from one body to another body, even in the same life. When you are when you were a child, you had a body, and when you were an adult, you had a body. At the end of 40 years, you'll have another body, and when you are growing old, you'll have another body. So the soul passing through different bodies can be observed in this life only. That is what Vedic philosophy is. That is what is one of the major difference between understanding of Vedic philosophy, the Hinduism or Christianity or Islam, the presence of soul, right? The soul has the karma, the concept of karma. So all of that, it comes from previous births as well. The impressions we carry, our mind is like a storehouse of impressions from many, many millions of births. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna and Bhagavad Gita. So the soul goes through many, many bodies. And depending on at one point of time, I want it to be a god, a demigod, Lord Brahma, or I want it to be. So all those different devatas or demigods are various positions like what you have in a company, right? In a company, you'll have different positions. You'll have one person making the choice, which is a chairman or the CEO, right? And then you'll have different directors or different senior managers. Similarly, Krishna is the supreme, and all everybody else comes from Krishna and they do some activity for Krishna. Even Vishnu is actually the same potency as Krishna. Just because Vishnu comes from Krishna, Krishna doesn't lose his potency, right? So Krishna is full in himself, Vishnu is full in himself, but Vishnu has different responsibilities to maintain this material universe. And Brahma creates and Shiva destroys. So that's the understanding. Okay, so if these two you're clear, then every single concept what we discuss in Bhagavad Gita will be really, really clear. So we are not a mind, we are not a body. And what is mind? What is intelligence? What is false ego? Which defines what's a subtle body? And a gross body is full made of dead matter, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, including your brain. Your mind makes a decision, and it's just triggers the part of your brain to send signals to your senses. Based on whatever decision you make, your brain sends signals to your senses to act. So when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so which means we are actually purifying our mind, which means we are purifying our subtle body. The brain is a part of gross body. So if our brain is not functioning, which means our mind is contaminated. If our brain is not functioning, which means our consciousness, right? If you see here, the whole thing, the orange arrow, the consciousness, this is contaminated. The desires is coming from your consciousness. So, what is Krishna consciousness? What Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is to be Krishna conscious, right? And he says, I have created this entire universe. So, you depend on me and not on anybody else. So, when you read Bhagavad Gita from a perspective of Krishna, I want to understand Krishna as a personality. See, it's not like a study book which you studied in school, like physics, chemistry, or maths, right? So that's the beauty. So that's the best part. So if you read Gita with a motive of a student and a teacher. So I want to understand Krishna as a person, right? So we all say that, okay, God exists or not? That is first question. Okay, it's a very, very simple question, and we smashed it, right? The earth is not going to float on itself, and they want proof for everything. So humans, we have imperfect senses. Our eyes, our ears cannot hear anything beyond a particular spectrum. Our eyes cannot observe something precisely when it is beyond a certain distance. We cannot see beyond specific spectrum of colors. We have so many imperfections within ourselves. So if the scientists, being human beings, if they come up with some instruments for measurement, what is the guarantee that it can be perfect? Firstly, humans have imperfect senses. So if you create something with imperfect senses, then how can it be perfect? So absolutely, you can't come up with a measurement or mathematical or a different formula from quantum physics to prove that God exists. So you need to listen to something which is beyond your perception, which is beyond your speculation. That is something called as trans-rational, which you cannot perceive with your own senses. So that is what the scriptures are. The scriptures are written by people who are the incarnations, are empowered by Krishna or Vishnu himself. So they have lived that life for us, for the generation of humans, to have that example of what happens if you do that. The whole concept of Mahabharata was for explaining us what is dharma, right? So all the scriptures were compiled so that humans, we don't have to try to do so many things to understand and figure out what is life. The modern education, it has given us, we saw the uh, cage and the mouse story. The modern education has taught us how nicely to paint the cage and how nicely to drill more holes to get more cheese. That's exactly what the modern education has taught the mouse. So education must lead to self-realization to understand who we actually are, right? So we need spiritual education. So that is why when we want to understand more about life beyond matter, which means you can't go by scientific explanations. You have to go rely on scriptures and people with various different potencies of knowledge, which is given by Krishna himself, right? And they all have compiled these scriptures, which means they have direct connection with God. Yoga. Yoga means connection. So Krishna gives the four treatment options, four different options in which you can make connection to Krishna. So they are all people who have compiled like Vyasadeva. They are all made perfect connection. They have perfected the state of one of the four paths. Right? Karma, Jnana, Dhyana. So first is karma, by doing your duties, by working, we can purify and connect to Krishna. And we do that as a yoga. That's called as karma yoga. And then just by reading scriptures, that is Gyan, knowledge, there is a pathway. And just by meditating, there is a pathway. And the fourth pathway, what Krishna says, is very, very easy. You do bhakti, you understand how you are created, you understand how the world is created, you read scriptures, you get convinced, and you start loving me. Very, very simple. We all need love. We just don't know where to search. So, coming back to the point where I was talking about, when we read Bhagavad Gita, the reason I'm saying all of this is when you increase your knowledge on this particular subject matter, you will understand that Krishna is also a personality. He just lives in a different place, in a different realm, in a different planet. So, the moment we have that understanding of what is reality, our consciousness, so this particular screen, what you're seeing, our consciousness, when we purify, all our desires will be purified, right? And we will take the path of permanent happiness, not temporary happiness. Agree? So, you will take the path of permanent happiness. What happens, permanent happiness? After death, we don't take any other bodies. We are given a position, like a company is there in the spiritual world. Every soul has a position depending on what mood or what love you have cultivated. So, with your dad, you cultivate a specific kind of love. With your mother, you cultivate a specific kind of love. With your kid, you cultivate a specific kind of love. But with your partner, with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you cultivate a kind of love. And with different people, so and similarly, God can be worshipped, Krishna can be worshipped in different moods. So depending on whichever mood you want to cultivate, whichever path you want to follow, you will be given that type of a position in a particular spiritual path. So this whole creation, there are multiple universes inside this material world. This whole creation is said to be just 25% of the entire manifestation of Krishna. So there is 75%, which is actually the spiritual world where you can enjoy. So we all seek for that particular happiness. So we are all part and parcels, right? As a part, we have limited qualities of what Krishna can have. We can also think. Krishna is also a person, but he can think with his eyes. He can eat with his ears. He can sing with his nose. Can we do that? No. So we will have particular qualities in a specific quantity. That is the understanding, the Vedic or the Vedantic understanding of part and parcel. This is there in every single scripture. So we are part and parcel. So we are one in quality, but parcel, we are a full in ourselves. We have our own identity. We can do a certain function. What is that function you're doing? Right? That depends on what you think is happiness, where you want to derive happiness from. Right? So that is the temporary happiness and permanent. Permanent happiness, happiness is within, which means, yes, happiness is within. That's what all the scriptures say. So, which means Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita too, we are all part and parcel of Krishna. So, which means we are full in ourselves. So, the parcel can never become the whole, the complete. Okay? So that's what Krishna says very, very clearly in Bhagavad Gita. So ultimately, what we have to conclude by reading Bhagavad Gita is God is actually a person. So consciousness, if you see in this particular diagram, this is just like a TV channel. You just have to tune it to a specific frequency to understand or see a particular thing. So when you purify your mind, your consciousness is purified and your vision will change from a material perspective to a spiritual perspective. Okay, so I'm going to now share the screen of the shloka for today. So before that, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any other questions before I share the shloka for the day? You'll read that shloka for 10 minutes. So these are the basic theoretical concepts. Okay, and let me bring the shloka on the screen. Can you all see the shloka now on the screen? Can somebody tell me if you can see the shloka on the screen?
No, we can't.
No, we can't see anything.
Or you can't see anything?
I mean, no sloka, just the previous screen.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Yeah, you can see now.
No, still no.
No.
Even now, you should be able to see.
Uh,
Yeah,
yes,
now we see.
You can see the shloka, right? 6
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a second. This is not the shloka. Yes. Can you see the shloka 6.35 now? 6.35? I have 6.35 on my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this shloka, I'll recite the shloka. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha Griyate. Translation. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and detachment. Suitable practice and detachment. So this is the translation. So this is how the shloka will be given, and that'll be Sanskrit text. This is how the book also will be there. And then you have word to word meaning. You can learn Sanskrit as well if you want, or you can just read the translation, which is the translation of the shloka. And the purport is nothing but the Acharya's commentary, which is a synthesis of various Vedic scriptures. And the appropriate references will be given in the book backside, what Upanishads have been referred, with this is coming from which Upanishad, which is coming from which Purana, which is coming from which Veda. Everything will be there. But it is not necessary for us to go back and learn everything, but we should have a decent understanding of what is Bhagavad Gita, because that is the manual for our human form of life. So the purport, what Prabhupada says by starting here, is the difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of God. And Krishna says, yes, it is very hard to control. But at the same time, he suggests by practice and detachment, it is possible. What is that practice? In this present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. Meditation, Krishna says it's not possible. Prabhupada says this is not what Krishna is meaning. Krishna is saying who is a perfect yogi is not the one who goes to forest and practices meditation, the one who is able to understand what is reality, understand and also live reality. I am part and parcel of Krishna. So what is the practice? The practice is bhakti yoga. So the process of chanting, when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the meaning is we are requesting Krishna to give us some service to do to him, because he has created this whole world. He has given us this particular body and this particular brain, and he has revealed to us the Bhagavad Gita. So you are the supreme controller, and I want to come to you. I surrender to you. You are the master, and I am the student, and I am surrendering at your feet. That is the attitude one must carry if you want to have a real spiritual awakening. There are a lot of practices in today's world, right? In the form of spiritual awakening, you have this Kundalini Shakti practice, various type of meditational practice, and Krishna talks about all of these 9 ways of meditation. There are different ways of meditation. All of these he talks in chapter 5. It's called as Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, the meditation techniques. So these techniques were beautiful when we were in during the ages of Mahabharata or Ramayana. At that point in time, the lifespan, we are right now in Kali Yuga. When the universe is created, it extends for X amount of time. And there are like four different partitions how the time is spent. So Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So each partition is called as a yuga, and each yuga has different time span and different lifespan. So Kali Yuga, the lifespan of human is 120 years. For example, Ramayana all happened in Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, when Dasharatha was sending Ram to the Vanvas, right? That time he was 60,000 or 80,000 years old. So when different yugas have different methodologies or yogic practice to connect with Krishna. So Bhakti Yoga, which means nothing but the chanting of any mantra. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is like Wi-Fi without password. All the other Maha Mantras are Wi-Fi with password, and it comes from Kali Santarana Upanishad. So for this particular yuga, right, in one of the yugas, we had meditation as a way to connect because we had living for 80,000 years. Okay, what to do? Go sit in the forest for 20,000 years and meditate. Yeah, people had that, and people had a different memory also accordingly because they need to store 80,000 years worth of data, right? So they had a capacity to absorb a lot of different things. But in this age, research in United States, they say that the attention span of a human is reduced from 12 minutes to 5 minutes in the last 20 years. You see, we all used to watch big, big movies. They are cutting down songs in the movies. They're cutting down the duration of the movies. And now, what is grasping people's attention? Nothing but your shorts. Netflix has come up with their shorts, Facebook shorts, Instagram reels. Each reel goes on for like 30 to 45 seconds. People keep getting addicted. So Maya is not created by God. Anything that is man-made will discharge you. Maya is created by humans. Humans actually create Maya. So what God has created is just nature, right? So anything that is created out of what God has given us, which means that has to be used in the service of God. Simple, right? So parents give us money when we educate for a particular responsibility. So similarly, God has created nature for a particular responsibility for the humans to evolve, reading scriptures, understand, and get back to Him. We were all with Krishna at one point in time, and we decided to enjoy, have independent life away from Krishna. That is the temporary happiness which we were seeing in the previous slide. So when we want when permanent happiness doesn't mean you drop everything, right? By the practice of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada's complete says, so what is the practice? What is permanent happiness? By the practice of Krishna consciousness. Consciousness means the state of being aware. Krishna consciousness means the state of being aware of Krishna. By practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service. What are the 9 different types of devotional service? So the 9 types of devotional service, if you see my screen now, they are like hearing, chanting, right? We were chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hearing means right now you're hearing Bhagavad Gita, remembering, going to temple, serving the Lord's lotus feet, giving an offering, giving him milk, giving him flowers, expressing your love, and doing artis, praying, reciting shlokas, reading Bhagavad Gita falls under praying as well, executing orders, of your duties of life, right? As a father, or as a son, or as an employee, or as an employer. Each of us will have different inclinations of how we want to utilize this body given by Krishna. Be useful. You can be a Brahmana who can teach. You can be a Kshatriya, take administrative positions. Or you can be a Vaishya, manage the society, produce commodities. Or you can be a Shudra, do the hard labor. So this is like, this has developed into a caste system in various Eastern countries. So if in order for somebody to sell a car, right, one has to have a sales department, one has to have a marketing department, one has to have an R&D section, and one has to have the labor and the workshop. Without all the four departments, one cannot enjoy the car. So Krishna says, Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam, which means all these four castes, the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras, these divisions are created by Krishna. He says this in one of the shlokas. So what he means when he says this, which means all these four divisions or these class of people having different taste is required for the optimal function of a society. That is called as Varnashram Dharma, right? All these fancy terms which we use as Sanatan Dharma, Varnashram Dharma. The original, purest term for all of that is Vaishnavism. That is the understanding of Vedas, Vedic philosophy, and Bhagavad Gita is in line with Vaishnavism. Okay, so these are at various different ways. If you want to add Krishna to your life, how do you do it? This is how you add Krishna to your life in one of these 9 ways. So, when Krishna says in this shloka, right, this is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So it doesn't mean you actually stop doing what you're doing. You add Krishna to your life. Doesn't matter what religion you are from. Every religion we saw why spirituality is like a ladder. So the moment you start adding Krishna to your life, you can add it in the 9 different ways. Then the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached that everything draws the mind away from Krishna. Anything that is man-made will attract and suck all the energy out of your mind. But anything that is not man-made, it takes you closer to Krishna. Scriptures are not man-made. If anybody thinks Bhagavad Gita is just like a book with words on paper, no. That's where the modern scientists are making mistake. By detaching the mind from the activities not devoted to the Lord, anything where whatever things you're doing in life day to day, it must be connected to a higher purpose. One can very easily learn vairagya by detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord. So, which means you need to increase your intelligence and understand what are the activities or how to devote your activities to the Lord. Maybe you're already there in 90-95%. Maybe it's just that you're not devoting to the Lord. So the moment you increase your intelligence, you develop knowledge, you develop jnana. Jnana leads to vairagya. Jnana, not just jnana. At the same time, you need to mingle with spiritually elevated people who are living what they preach. Only then you can cultivate a spiritual consciousness. If you want good food, you go to good restaurant. For recommendations, you go to people who has eaten food in that particular restaurant. Similarly, when people say happiness is within, yes, Krishna says in chapter 15, shloka 15, I am there in everybody's heart. So that is super soul, that is soul, and that is super soul. The process of bhakti, the 9 steps which you see, is the process of establishing a relationship with the super soul, right? So when you establish a relationship with another person, what you do, you talk, you date, you get to know, you watch a movie. Similarly, to get to know about Krishna, you read Gita, talk to people who knows more about Krishna. And then you come to temple, which is like dating with Krishna. Give gifts, express your offering, express your love. So you are able to see your mom, dad, your husband, wife, kids as a person. But see Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna and Arjuna are also persons, right? They were also a personality. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and Arjuna was a student. So Vairagya, this understanding, Vairagya comes. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of mind and spirit, right? Understanding spiritual subject matters, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading other literatures. If you see Bhaktivedanta database, it has almost every single Vedic scripture you want. It's all available for free. You know what's the best part? It's available since 1965. Nobody knew it. In English, by the way. Coming back to the purpose, impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. If You want to, this is right, basically, see how much information we have in one purport, right? Attachment is nothing but an addiction or a compelling reason to do something, right? A compelling behavior. So the moment we develop a spiritual consciousness, when Krishna says you detach, right? So you are detaching from this material benefits which you are getting from the world in the form of money. Yes, you need money for what? To maintain this body. And do what? To serve Krishna. End of story. What other desires coming in between? So now all the others are coming in between. Okay, fine. Okay, my desires are coming, so I'll get married. I'll enjoy them in a regulated environment. That is why we have regulated principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no sex without marriage, and no gambling. Intoxication leads alcohol, tobacco, meat eating. So this is practical. By hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached. So if I hear about Prime Minister, yeah, I'll start understanding, I'll start liking him as a personality, right? Who doesn't agree with that? If I start hearing about any Hollywood actor or say Virat Kohli or Vijay Mallya, anybody, I start getting attracted to them as a personality. So now you need that much amount of scriptural knowledge to understand that Krishna is a person. Okay, I need to know who am I. Okay, I need to know where I am. I need to know how this world was created and why I am in earth and what is below earth, what is above earth. That is one universe. Similarly, there are multiple universes. Okay, that is the material world. It keeps getting destroyed. After some time, it keeps getting created. That is how it is functioning. This we understand from Srimad Bhagavatam. How difficult is this? Now, if you want to get out of this, Krishna says what you have to do in Bhagavad Gita. And that is possible only when you have a human form of body. And before coming to this human form of body, we have taken 8.4 million births. So, what is stopping us from leaving this particular body? Attachments. This attachment is called Paraseshanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. So, being what Prabhupada is saying, don't be attached to worldly things, be attached to Krishna, be attached to coming to temple, be attached to reading scriptures, be attached to meeting spiritual people, be attached to spiritual growth. So, you can have this attachment depending on whatever pace you want. It's like a ladder. So you can have add Krishna 10% in your life, 5% in your life, daily one round of chanting and 2 pages of reading Bhagavad Gita. So some people, so what I do, my spiritual practices, I allot at least 3 hours every day because I have that much attachment to Krishna. I want to know more about Krishna because he's keeping me happy. Whatever I am today, whatever he's giving, and it is all by the mercy or by the grace of Lord. Everything is being given. It's not being taken. We are not the mouse to go and keep chasing for cheese. It's time to get out of the cage. This attachment is called Pareshanubhava, spiritual satisfaction, being attached to Krishna. It is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. Imagine what is the feeling of a beggar who has not eaten for 5 days and you give him a fresh fried rice, vegetable fried rice. Every single until the last grain, he will be so satisfied. That is the amount of satisfaction you get when you actually chant Krishna's his holy name, right? So the recipe is there, right? You can either read the cookbook. Bhagavad Gita is like a cookbook. Krishna gives a recipe for you to be happy in life. Now you can either read the cookbook and know there is a recipe, or you can buy the cookbook, buy the ingredients, sit in your home, prepare the recipe, and enjoy it. But the secret ingredient is to dedicate some amount of time in your daily life to make yourself temporarily, make yourself not dependent on temporary happiness, to make yourself prepared to come out of this temporary world and have a permanent happiness. Right? So we all have this life, we all have this body. For what? To getting to know who we are and who is God and what is our relationship with God. Where is He and how to attain Him? Any religion you follow, it should answer these 5 questions. Who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? Where is God staying? And how do I attain Him? And only Vedic philosophy gives you one beautiful answer. What do you do after attaining God? That question is not given, that question is not answered in any other scriptures. Many other scriptures very clearly. So Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, what do you do after attaining? You have different planets, depending on whichever mood. So you have the recipe, right? You have the 9 types of devotional service, like hearing, chanting, singing, dancing, doing puja. So depending on whichever mixture, however you mix it, the recipe will be that tasty. Whether we want to taste that happiness is the question, or whether we want to sit and read the cookbook and say, okay, this cookbook is not for me. So practice, that's what in this particular purport, Prabhupada says very, very clearly. Krishna says it can be done by detachment. So detachment means not giving up what you're doing. It is getting attached to something else. That is the real meaning of detachment. So we all need a focus point. So right now our focus point may be studies, or right now our focus point may be jobs, or right now the focus point may be family. That is where we are deriving happiness from, because, or at least we believe that's what will make me happy. Good, have that belief, because you'll have to exist inside this particular body, you have to maintain this body. But so do all of that to maintain this particular body. But the moment you're maintained, start serving Krishna. And that can be done even by chanting one mala a day, or that can be even done by reading 1 or 2 pages. So the moment you do this, your intelligence will be opened up to accept a higher reality. So right now our consciousness is mostly tuned because of the country that we are living in, or because of the education system. Our consciousness is tuned to look after our body. That is what happens. So now when we tune our consciousness to a higher reality based on whatever scripture says, so whatever is happening to our body, we understand, right? It is all happening because of whether I want it now or whether I wanted it in the past. If something is happening to me now, maybe I would have wished it in somewhere in some other lifetime. It was just being fulfilled. That only you're not able to take. That is why Krishna doesn't give everything to you in one lifetime. He gives you many lifetimes to purify. And he also makes different opportunities. So reading Bhagavad Gita, or coming in touch with Bhagavad Gita is an opportunity, because Krishna thinks you are ready. But are you willing to put the effort is the question. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental just by hearing Bhagavad Gita. Activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind. And eating foodstuff offered to Krishna, showing gratitude whenever you eat, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, is the appropriate diet. Chanting is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment process is called Krishna consciousness. Such a beautiful purport, a lot of things for us to learn. So I'll stop here. As promised, I've taken 1 hour. Any questions? Any questions? So I know it's a lot of information. So how did you feel, Adarsh? How did you feel, Paulami?
It was really good. I would say like it was a lot of information, but
Hmm.
still processing a lot of it.
Yeah. I know it's hard because
I don't have any questions right now, but like maybe I'll go through this again,
okay.
then maybe in the next session or something, I might have
How
something.
did you find the session? Is this something what you expected to learn when you registered? Is this kind of information that you wanted to receive?
Yeah, basically, yes, I would say yes, because like what I'm thinking is like,
Hmm.
what should I do and what am I doing? I'm like literally trying to figure that out. It's like,
Hmm.
is this a good way or is this a bad way? Like, just like how to take it one step at a time. It's like not just going right into it. So something like that.
Okay. Okay.
It's like it goes with like everything what's going on in my life. So
Hmm. Okay. So what about you, Paulami?
Yeah, it was good.
So what do you do? I didn't get to hear from you.
I'm a nurse.
Hmm?
I do nursing.
Ah, you do nursing. Okay, okay. And where do you live?
Quakers Hill.
Quakersville. Okay, okay. So how did you find today's session? Something useful? Did it grab your attention? Because I see some people dropped off.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I learned. I do read every day, so
Oh, you do read Gita every day?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So what did you learn today?
About the mind, more about the mind.
Anything new?
No, it was just more in detail.
Ah, it's more in detail. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had some new concepts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think? You have any questions on them or you want to contemplate on them?
No questions yet. No.
No, no questions?
No.
Okay. So over to you, Kangana.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
My question is like according to our devotional service, we will go to the different planet or we will go to the Golok? Where we will go?
Okay. Okay. So this is a bit complicated. So try to understand. Okay. This is Earth. Okay. Above Earth, there are 7 heavenly planets. And below Earth, there are 7 hellish planets. And this is just one universe. Okay.
Yes.
And this is just one planet. We are in one planet inside one universe. One universe have many planets. And similarly, there are millions of universes in different realities. Okay, in this material world. Okay, so that is 25% of the creation. Now there is spiritual world, which is 3 times bigger than the material world. And that is also structured in the same way. It has many spiritual planets. So it's our choice in between spiritual world and material world. That is what people call as Brahma Jyoti. That is what some scientists say, black hole, we don't know what is that beyond this.
Yeah.
Or something like that similarly. So whatever they call it as black hole is different. But when you go above Earth, even in, Srimad Bhagavatam, what is the distance from Earth until Brahma Jyoti, you can calculate. So when you penetrate, what is the shell? When you penetrate different earths and what is the shell the universe has, and on top of that, what covering is there, and then how far you go to the border between material and spiritual world. So depending on whether we do good in our life or whether we do bad in our life, coming back to the question, depending on what activities we do, we take birth in higher or lower planets. And if that activities are mixed little with bhakti, then you go to higher planets, and from there you can actually go to spiritual planet. But if your activities are not mixed with bhakti, you go to higher planet and you come down to earth. Then you have to practice bhakti. So now when your bhakti is matured, you will continue to do your activities, okay, but you won't be bothered about the outcome or results at all. You'll be fully detached because your bhakti is fully matured. My purpose of life at the time of death, I have to remember Krishna. My desire should be going to Krishna's home. At the time of death, remembering Krishna is our goal. Now, this is the preparation. At the time of death, if you're not able to remember Krishna, then you will take another birth, depending on whatever little bit of desires we had. But at the time of death, if we remember Krishna, then we won't be taking any more bodies. So to answer your question, if you are doing your duties regularly, and with the spirit or with the intention that Krishna has given me this body and it is my duty to make sure that whomever I meet or whatever I do with this body, it is my duty to make sure that it is for Krishna's service. Now, if I am raising a family, then Krishna has given me this support as a family, number one. He has given me emotional support. You will draw emotional support from people. Not everybody can practice bhakti perfectly. So we take emotional support from people and then we grow with experience, be at work or be at family. So if you're raising a family, then add Krishna, worship Krishna, do some arti, puja, make some offering, read Bhagavad Gita every day, Try to follow the 4 relative principles. Come to temple once a week. And that is more than enough. So at the moment of death, if you remember Krishna, you're out of this entire 25% of the material world. And depending of whatever bhakti you do and how much love you have cultivated to Krishna, cultivated towards Krishna, you will get a position in a particular spiritual planet. Say Krishna is the topmost, and from Krishna comes Vishnu, and from Vishnu comes 10 avatars, 10 Vishnu tattvas. So say I know Krishna is supreme, but I'm a big fan of Hanuman. Yeah, but I know Krishna is supreme, and Hanuman has worshipped Lord Ram, and Lord Ram has come from Vishnu, and Vishnu came from Krishna. I know Krishna is supreme, but I want to carry the mood of Anjaneya, Lord Ram, Lord Hanuman. It's fine. Fantastic. I worship Krishna as a servant. Very simple. So you go to a particular planet where everybody carries the same mood so that you will find like-minded people. And you will enjoy that. You'll enjoy it however how Hanuman has enjoyed so much. You think he served Krishna like a Lord Ram without enjoyment, without having any taste, just because he was employed? No, he had the love. So it doesn't matter which religion you are, doesn't matter what are your spiritual practices are. It only matters how much love you have inside. If it's Krishna consciousness, it's about how much love you have for Krishna. And if Krishna is missing in your life, probably you'll have all that love and all that money, and you would not be knowing what you're doing in life, and you'll be a philanthropist trying to help people or humanity wherever there are social causes, which is good. So the next life, you will take birth in a family where they believe in God, and then you will start. That's all. So it's also everybody's life is a journey, and it carries a pace, and it's in your hands on how fast you want to.
So in a different spiritual planet, Krishna is there, yeah, in different form. He is there.
Yes, Krishna is there. That's a very good question. But accessing Krishna will become difficult. So especially the heavenly planets. Okay, you're talking about different spiritual planets, is it?
Spiritual planets, yeah.
Yeah. So the spiritual planet, there is a spiritual planet called as Vaikuntha, where Krishna exists in the form of Vishnu. And then there is a spiritual planet called as Dwaraka, where people know that he is Krishna and he is God. And then there is a planet for Ayodhya, where Krishna exists in the form of Lord Ram, because people are attached to Ram. And then the topmost planet, so Dwaraka, and then topmost planet is Goloka Vrindavan. So in Goloka Vrindavan, it's like basically Krishna as Prime Minister at office, he's in Vaikuntha, and in various spiritual planets in different ways, he expand. That expansion, you can call it as cloning, right? So in his personal home, that is Goloka. That is his personal palace. So Krishna at work is Vishnu, and Krishna at his personal home is Goloka Vrindavan. There he is residing as a cowherd boy. People will not know that Krishna is God. And there inside the topmost spiritual planet, people will be worshipping Vishnu. People will be worshipping Narsingadev. So we know all the Narsingadev. We know story of who are the other what Varahadev, Vamanadev. They will be worshipping all those because they don't know Krishna as God. That is what Krishna wants. Krishna doesn't want people don't. That is the mood which we want to cultivate, which is easy to cultivate. Else, our mind will be confused with so many type of religious rituals, so many type of rules. It's end of the day, the topmost form of understanding from the Vedas is how much you can love Krishna, right? I have a particular cell phone in my hand, and this particular cell phone is, I have no attachments to it, right? Now, tomorrow I can just change it. But now, if this particular cell phone was used by my brother and then he passed away, and then if I have this phone, I will think a lot before throwing it because of the memory that it is creating, right? And what is attached behind that? Emotion. So, by reading Bhagavad Gita and by hearing about Krishna, you cultivate that emotion, the bhav for Krishna. So the recipe will not work if you don't have love in your eyes, if you don't have love in your heart. That's why in any type of religious practices or meditation practices, the Kundalini activation, which is the famous practice in this modern age, they all say you will have to be humble and you will have to surrender to the supreme energy. Some people believe God is energy. Yeah, okay. But the most perfect understanding is God is a person. Yes, God is also an energy. Sun is different from the sun rays. I can say the sun is rise just by seeing the rays of the sun. And true. But some people, they want to go see the sun outside. That is also true. Both are true. We're not saying anybody is wrong here. But what we are worried at the same time is what is the most perfect understanding? Humans are made after the form of God. We all know that, right? So why is it so hard to understand that God is also a person? It is just that his potencies are so strong. He can do whatever he wants, however he wants, and whenever he wants. And he will not do anything against dharma. That is why he is having that much power. He doesn't misuse it. We misuse it. That is why we are here in this planet, because we wanted to be away from Krishna. We made a choice. All right, does it answer your question, Kangan?
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't give a short answer because I need to wrap it up with the entire picture, because mostly people hear one half of the thing, like how Hanuman burned Lanka with fire with carrying on his tail. So people know only one side of the story. Oh, Hanuman got so angry. What if Sita was burnt in that? Of course, true. Some people start criticizing, but they don't know what Hanuman did after that. Which place, which lake he came and dipped his tail. It's in the Nilachal mountain where it is. And how much he regretted that, thinking he put Sita in danger. Not many people know that. People know only one half of the story. How much Hanuman regretted for doing that incident, people don't know. So that is the beauty, right? Like the consolidation. It's the end of the day. It's not about, you know, people being Hare Krishna or people becoming from Hindu to Hare Krishna or people becoming from Christian to Hindu or Muslim to Christian. It is not about all of that. It is about adding Krishna to your life. That is what is Prabhupada is teaching us. It is about adding Krishna to your life. How much you add is depending on how much you love. What do you mean by adding? Means giving time to Krishna consciousness. You're giving time so much to so many people because you love them. Now, if you want to give time to Krishna, you had to love. First, you need to trust. Yes, God exists. Okay, fine. Krishna is God. Reading Bhagavad Gita. Fine. Now I am in a safe spot. And after that, okay, fine. Krishna is God. What am I doing about it? We'll have to do something, go to temple or worship Krishna or chant his holy name so that he can give you more mercy and happiness. That's how happiness comes from within. And then there are various other scriptures where you can get to know more about Krishna and cultivate the particular emotion you want to cultivate. That is the science of cultivating love of God, right? That is not that in any religion, in any scripture in the world. That you will find out only in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism is a branch of Vaishnavism. So there are four sampradayas in Vaishnavism. So there is Sri Sampradaya, which is Ramanuja Sampradaya, where Krishna has given this knowledge directly to Lakshmi. That's why it's called the Sri Sampradaya. And then he has given this knowledge to Brahma directly. And Brahma has passed on the knowledge to Madhva. So these are all, Ramanuja was the Acharya a few hundreds of years back, and then Madhva was the Acharya. So in ISKCON, it is Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. And then the knowledge has been given to Shiva, which is Rudra Sampradaya, and Shiva gave the knowledge to Vishnu Swami. And then we have four Kumaras, the sons of Brahma, and it is called as Kumara Sampradaya. Krishna has given the knowledge to the four Kumaras also, and they have given the knowledge to Vishnu Swami. Sorry, the previous one was Nimbarka. For Kumara, the knowledge was, I think this one is Nimbarka, sorry, the four Kumaras, the knowledge was given to Nimbarka, and the Rudras, Shiva gave the knowledge to Vishnu Swami. So these are the four bona fide Sampradaya. So what we mean by Sampradaya, so it's called as the GPS, the Guru Parampara system. right? So if you're lost on a way in the car, you open the GPS. Similarly, in life, now I know I am in an ocean, right? Okay, with Bhagavad Gita, I understood that I'm in an ocean and I found a boat. I came and sat on the boat. Now, in order to be connected to Krishna, you can't go and talk to Prime Minister directly, right? You'll go through his secretary, or you need to book an appointment. So that connection between you and Krishna is your guru. And if you don't have a guru from any of these four sampradayas, which means a discipling succession, okay? So it's called as a chain of succession. So in every sampradaya from Lakshmi, the knowledge flowed down through a proper chain to Ramanuja, right? That's Sri Vaishnavism. So from Brahma through Madhva, the knowledge flowed properly down to Madhva. That is Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. And from there, from the Bengal side of people, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they took it over as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay, so this is a direct succession of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So similarly, Rudra, Shiva has given that knowledge without any break through different succession. Okay, and then four Kumaras is given the knowledge to Nimbarka. So that is how water Ganges originates. We all know, say, people say Haridwar and Rishikesh. That is where it's officially called as Ganges, right? It's a holy river in India. But the original source of Ganges is a place called Gomukh. It is there in the northern part of India. And that is it's in Gangotri Glacier. It's very hard for even people to go there. So from there, the water is flowing through various rivers and mountains and stones, and it is coming. And officially, it is called as Ganges in Haridwar and Rishikesh. Similarly, the Vedic knowledge has been flowing from Krishna through all the acharyas in a disciplic succession, and we accept it only from a bona fide succession. Only if we have that connection, then we go back to Krishna. That is why a guru is very important. Does it answer your question?
I have a question.
Yes, Paulani.
So where can I find the guru here?
Okay, so you can actually find gurus in ISKCON. So ISKCON is an organization which facilitates the practice of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Right.
So if you want gurus in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, you can find them in ISKCON. But I am actually from Sri Sampradaya. But I chose to have a guru Indra here because I felt knowledge was more accessible here. So in Sri Sampradaya, there are like various representatives in various organizations which facilitates guru. But everywhere there will be some non-profit organization facilitating you a guru. And you can also find people, but it's very hard, right? Very hard to find bona fide people. Right now, spirituality is now an organized religion, right? End of the day. So there is nonsense everywhere because an organization is man-made. We spoke so much about scientific instruments, right? Even an organization is man-made. So any man-made organization is not going to be perfect. Every organization will have flaws. But how are you identifying the diamond, which is diamond and which is nonsense? That comes with intelligence. So if you feel that the knowledge is accessible in a particular place, then you get connected to that particular place. And then you find out people who actually talk the knowledge in the way it is meant to be understood. I know people who have read Bhagavad Gita and come out with a conclusion that Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between consciousness and super consciousness. Arjuna is the consciousness, Krishna is the super consciousness. And finally, after life, the consciousness merges with the super consciousness, and we merge with God and we become God. People have come up with these type of conclusions reading Bhagavad Gita, unfortunately. So finding a bona fide guru is what we need. And the moment you have an author and a book, then you need to find a person who teaches that author's teachings perfectly, right? Every author will have a view, and every view is a pathway to God. Now, you need somebody to validate that. But if you go to different organizations, you'll have different heads. So now those heads will help you validate Guru as per your mood. So you may want to practice bhakti, you want to practice bhakti yoga for like 10-15% of your day. Yeah, there are approaches. Approaches can be carved. So a guru is a person who carves the approach depending on your mood. So whose mood you're able to resonate with. So what you do, you go to YouTube. The organization will help you identify gurus according to your mood. And then you listen to their lectures. You have a probation period. You can go talk to them or you can email them and you listen to their video recordings and see whether you're able to establish a heart-to-heart connection, whether you think all your questions will be answered by this guru. You may or may not have a question, but okay, it feels warm at my heart to be connected with this person. And whatever his, the moment you are accepting a guru, which means you are surrendering to him. Guru is a representative of Krishna. Serving Guru is like serving Krishna directly. The moment you surrender to a Guru and you join a Sampradaya, which means your purpose and mission in life should be aligned to the purpose and mission of that particular Guru. You need to listen to whatever your Guru says.
So do you have a suggestion?
Depending on your mood. Maybe you can text me after this, and depending on how heavy are your practices are, how much you want to practice, how long you have been chanting, how many rounds you have been chanting, how long you have been chanting, how many rounds you have been chanting, and then how you want to take your life forward, what's your family background. So depending on all that, we can discuss. I can help you out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you can text me after this class, and we can discuss your requirements. And then yeah, I can suggest, because if you're mostly in Australia, there are the gurus who visits Australia regularly. I'll give you the names accordingly. But some people are, they feel more connected to Hindi speakers, or some people they feel more connected to gurus who speak Sanskrit in Western bodies. Some people feel more connected to gurus in Indian bodies. Depending on different people's mood. But everybody, we need to make sure only one thing, okay, whether this person is teaching Prabhupada's teachings, if you want to get initiated. And then, while accepting a guru, so guru will say that these are my missions of life, in whatever capacity you want to support, right? So you will have to support basically whatever initiatives the guru has taken. So my guru, for example, he's building a temple in Thailand, and the temple has 75 guest rooms, a school, and everything. And the total cost of the temple is like $7 or $8 million budget. So I'm committing some amount for the next 5 years towards that particular cause of my guru, and that is my service. And at the same time, I teach Bhagavad Gita or I speak Gita to people, even if I have one or two people. And then weekdays, Monday to Friday, I work. Normal. Sorry. Oh yeah, here now we have three. So you see, surprisingly, right? Like how many people are there in the WhatsApp group and how many end up actually pulling time. So that comes only if you're part of the process of bhakti yoga, hearing, chanting, visiting temple. So this is the process. How you mix it, how many hours you want to hear, how many hours you want to chant, depending on how much you mix this formula, that much amount of happiness you get it just for free. Right now we think, okay, happiness is doing this, doing that, and if there is a result tied to it, and if you like that particular result, then it is giving me some sort of emotions and feelings within my heart and brain. I decide I am happy, I name that emotion as happy. But this one, the source, the object from whom we are deriving is Krishna. So imagine the kind of pleasure that you will experience, right? The wow effect when I see a Disney World in US, or when I see Opera House with all the lights on, I'll get a wow effect, right? My heart melts. Or when I meet the love of my life and I'm like giving a pose with her in Titanic, just like this, right? Of course, you'll have some sort of a goosebumps or some sort of emotions or energy in your heart. Your heart vibrates in a different frequency. That effect called as the material effect towards transcendence. So that is a reflection. So when you get to know more about Krishna, listening about Krishna's stories, you get like millions and millions of amount of pleasure. So we are talking about some subject matter which is trans-rational, right? Which cannot be perceived, you can only experience. So this experience of that particular emotions and the science and the formula of how to cultivate that emotions, that scientific approach to this particular process is given by a Gaudiya Vedanta scholar called as Rupa Goswami. And that is the only difference in philosophy from other sampradayas and Gaudiya Vaishnavism. In Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there are Vedic texts which explains that Krishna came down himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So imagine now you guys, you want to be experiencing inside your body what your dad or mom is experiencing, what emotions. Your parents are experiencing some emotions, right? Now you want to experience that emotion in your body. So Krishna, he wants to understand how it is like, Radharani, Srimati Radharani is able to love me so much. What is there in me? I cannot give love for myself, right? Only somebody who loves me can give love for me, right? Krishna is full in himself. He is God. He cannot give love for himself. So Srimati Radharani, his eternal consort, she has so much of love for Krishna. Whatever the situation is, she's undeviated. Now, he wants to understand how it feels like, what emotions are she going through actually by loving me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have Srimad Bhagavatam scriptures and Vedic texts and Upanishads saying that Krishna will appear. So we saw four yugas, right? Satya, Dwapara, Treta, and Kali, the four portions or different time spans. So that is completely called as one Mahayuga, okay, or one Kalpa. So similarly, a universe functions for different kalpas before it is destroyed and recreated. Okay. So now in every one kalpa, okay, which is four Mahayugas. Each yuga will have X number of years, okay, and all four yugas together is called as one Mahayuga. And I think four Mahayugas becomes one kalpa. Every kalpa once. So that is exactly precise calculation. So similarly, every kalpa once Krishna will appear in his golden form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this happened just 600 years back. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where Gaudiya Vaishnavism branch comes from, he is Krishna himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani, where he wanted to experience the love and emotions what Radharani is going through by worshipping him. So that is the speciality of that particular avatar. It is called as a hidden incarnation. Channa avatar. We have the scriptural evidences for this. So some people agree, some people don't agree, because there are different scholars, different sampradayas, right? So that then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us how to love Krishna purely by being a devotee without any of the attachments. So how to love Krishna knowing that he is not Krishna? You get the point? How to love Krishna knowing that he is a cowherd boy? So in the topmost Krishna's palace, nobody knows that he's God. So you will have to cultivate certain set of emotions, like how I'm getting skilled. I want to get money by doing engineering. You cultivate certain skill set, right? So similarly, when you take up bhakti yoga as a practice, you'll do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You have a certain set of process you have to follow, right? And if you do all that with full of your heart, you do this happens. If this does not happen, then the problem is not with the process. The problem is that you're not doing the process correctly. So this process is given by Rupa Goswami to cultivate various emotions. So Rupa Goswami is the Gaudiya Vedanta scholar, and this process for each and every single emotion, how you cultivate, which planet you go or which position you go, depending on how you want to love Krishna, that science of say when you see a Disney World or Opera House, as I was saying, you get some feelings or emotions, right? When you meet the love of your life, when you date them, that emotion you go when you go to Vrindavan. Oh, this is where Krishna played. This is where Mother Yashoda died Krishna. And then you go to Mayapur. Oh, this is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. You feel so much of emotions just by hearing that katha. That's called as katha ruchi. So the moment You do all of this, your process, you develop katha ruchi, a taste for hearing about Krishna. And then the case you can maximize it if you follow. There are various steps to do it. So yeah, depending on how much time you want to put and how much effort you want to put, accordingly Krishna will reveal and Krishna will reciprocate. So that's the understanding. So it's not any mental speculation chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, right? Like this is backed by science. Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to ask any questions. I know, right? Like this will be a lot to digest. I keep my sessions a bit philosophical, a bit technical also, because end of the day, if you want to sustain in spirituality without knowing the technical aspects, it is really, really hard. Because anybody can come and influence you, right? See, say for example, this is not the first pandemic we went through. This is not the first tension between like Palestine and Israel, or Ukraine and Russia, or India and China, the borders. This is not the first time tension is developing. We have seen two world wars before. We have seen a pandemic before. We have seen civilizations being destroyed because God not being in the center thousands of years back. History will repeat. It's the same news or same events which is happening to different people. How hard it is to decipher this. It's the same news which is happening to different people which happened 100 years back. Exactly. It's just that the names and the terminologies have developed. Science has not evolved. E was always equal to mc square. Technology has evolved. How many scientific inventions we had after Einstein or all of them? They are keeping evolving things, but technology only is coming to interact with us. Science is not coming to interact with us. So science is to know who you actually are. Science is not physics, chemistry, or maths. Science is derived from a Latin word called as scientia, which is called as book of knowledge. When we say Vedas is scientific, which means Vedas are book of knowledge. And what is knowledge? Knowledge means understanding what is reality. Knowledge is that is called as science. Science means understanding what is reality. Vedas are scientific, which means we say Vedas give you a true understanding of what is reality. Your perception of reality will change if you read Bhagavad Gita. So you can validate all this information. You can verify all this information. So small, what we call science, what we know as science, is called as modern science. But that is Vedic science, that is Vedic maths, that is Vedic physics, that is Vedic chemistry. And we have in Vedic science, so in Vedic cosmology, we have a beautiful explanation of how this universe is created, how Brahma creates it, how Vedas are spoken, how Vedas are compiled, how every single universe is created. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedic cosmology, or you can refer this book, Vedic Cosmology by Pavaneshwar Das. He has explained cosmology, extracting information from n number of different scriptures so that give us a holistic view with YouTube channels and free videos. So we understand, we need to really, really understand at least what's there in Bhagavad Gita. And once you understand it, okay, that means, okay, fine, I know there is a book and there is a recipe. Now I can just say that, okay, I know a recipe and walk away, or put the efforts to go get the ingredients. Ingredients is nothing but time, giving time to practice so that you get the results. It's a hypothesis. It has scientific evidences, approach and a process where you can measure the results. Because I can measure myself, how my thinking was, how I used to. I still face problems, but how I get attached to my problems, how I get, too invested in somebody else's problem. And I can see the reflection of myself, who I was 3 years back and who I am now. So that is how I measure the growth. So how I used to think 3 years back and how I used to think now. What is the addition? Of course, I've been associating with many people, but I've been associating with devotees also. I've been reading scriptures also. I've been chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as well. So I can see the difference in me from 2020 to 2024, 4 years of practice. So definitely. So chanting is the key to open up your intelligence. Prayers are the key to open up your intelligence. Only if you intelligence is opened up, and that is a subtle body. So you need mercy of somebody above you. So either you meet a sadhu, when you say sadhu, somebody who is practicing spirituality, either you meet a sadhu, he can give you that mercy, or Krishna can give you a little bit of that mercy. That is why, to be connected always to that mercy, we accept a guru and we stay connected to the sampradaya, because the mercy flows through association. So sometimes we associate, sometimes we don't associate. So when we take a commitment of a guru, which means we want to be associated for life with Krishna, which means after this life I want to be with Krishna and the guru will take me there. That's the understanding. So how he'll take you? Only if he is pleased with you. How he'll be pleased with you? Only if he serve you. How you'll serve? By chanting your rounds and by listening to whatever he says you. And he will give you instructions only when he knows your potential. Until then, no gurus will give instructions. They'll give instructions only when you ask. So depending on your practices, your consciousness will get purified, as we saw. So once your consciousness is purified, you will still have desires. If anybody says you can be desireless, that's nonsense. That's bogus philosophy. But you will always have desires. Now you'll have desires for what? For Krishna's pleasure. If I give proper education to my child, and if my child is able to understand who is Krishna and what is the purpose of life, then I have done my job as a father. If my child doesn't understand what is life and who is God and the purpose of the body at the age of 25, he doesn't understand the purpose of this body is to understand who is God and cultivate a relationship. At the age of 25, he doesn't realize, then I've failed in my duties. Somewhere I failed in my duties. Or if you feel that you have done, then okay, maybe the Lord's will. He wants a child to learn in a different way. But have you done your duties diligently? That's the question. Okay, so that's one understanding. So I do my job not because, yes, of course, I want to pay my rent, I want to pay my bills. Of course, I want to make money. I have a car as well. So who doesn't like to make money? But at the same time, I always show my gratitude that this is given to me. I am not taking from my employer. Krishna has given this so that I be in a comfortable position to practice Krishna consciousness and contribute in a way in which I want to contribute to my Guru's movement. Or Srila Prabhupada has given so many centers across the world in the name of ISKCON. I go there, I do some service, make sure they are able to run their daily operations. These are the some of key integral ingredients of your recipe. This is the secret to cultivate that emotion or love. Is get into action, express your love. You cannot say that, okay, I know this book, I know this is my son, and I love my son. I keep telling him I love you 100 times a day. It doesn't work like that. You need to express your love. You need to express your love to your kid. You need to express your love to your girlfriend. You need to express in actions to your parents. That expression is called as service attitude, expressing to serve Krishna or any form of Krishna. So that is the most key ingredient of the process, secret ingredient. So the moment that comes in, you will be able to, okay, this guy, this is my guru, he is bona fide. I'll surrender to him tomorrow. If I have more money, I trust him and I give it to him. That is my mood. I don't give it everywhere. Nobody gives give their money everywhere nowadays. We don't know what every spiritual organization does. So a guru, when you're accepting, you'll have to be clear with all these three things. What is your guru's mood? What is your guru's intention? And what his guru's intentions are? That is how his intention will be now. Right? You need to understand your guru's intention. That is why we read all Srila Prabhupada's books very, very carefully. He's our Siksha Guru. He's always everybody's Siksha Guru. All the books are given to him, given by him to us 50 years back. And now if anybody who says he's a guru in ISKCON, which means he needs to clearly tell and follow Prabhupada's teachings. He needs to be living that. All the disciples of the Guru are like the family of Guru. They leave all their family. They completely renounce. They completely take saffron, which means they're burning all their desires. They're wearing orange because they burn their desires. All their desire is for Krishna. They want to take people closer to Krishna. Right? If Prabhupada has not done that, we won't be having so many literatures across the world. So you need to have that much amount of connection with Krishna. Then Krishna will give you, or Krishna will identify a guru to you. And then you be connected with Guru. So for all of that, the practice being in the process is very important. Chanting every day and reading every day. Prabhupada says to all is anybody who has joined the Sampradaya, who has accepted a Guru, Prabhupada says everybody mandatory to chant 16 rounds every day. which will take around 2 hours, and reading 1 hour of Prabhupada's books every day. End of the day, books is what will keep sharpening your intelligence, right? If you're not in touch with the actual books, so 50% of how you live, 50% should come from your own study. 25% should come from outside. Only 25% of what you're doing in your life, that should come from outside advice. And remaining 25% should come from your past experiences. If you have any problems today, if you sit and take a journal and reflect, aligning with what Krishna says to Gita, you will have the solution in front of you right away. Because that's how beautiful Gita is. So somewhere you have a problem, which means whatever was your purpose at the time of defining your goals, that purpose is not connected with Krishna. Because currently, if you have a problem, which means you're not able to accept what is in front of you, which means you're in a different reality. So now, if you evaluate the problem from a Krishna's perspective, saying that, okay, fine, now only two options. Will this help me progress in Krishna consciousness, or will this not help me in progress in Krishna consciousness? Anything which is not helping you progressing in Krishna consciousness is a problem. Anything which is not bothering your progress in Krishna consciousness is not at all a problem. It is just your mind which is confusing you beautifully. So that is why I go deep in. If you see, right, like when the session started, we had around 7 or 8 people. So some people will find it technical, they may not get what they want. Some people watch the recording. But when I give the information, slice it, dice it, validate it. But if you get these basics, then your journey in Gita will go very, very easy. So sometimes in some sessions, every class will have a theme. So yeah, today in mindfulness, I picked up, expanding more about our desires and our attachments, how we'll break all our attachments and reach the spiritual planets. All right. So if no more questions, we'll stop here. So Paulini, you text me, and then yeah, we can discuss about your guru finding.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Thank you very much for today.
no worries. Yeah, usually the session goes until 7:45 p.m. That's all right. But
No, it's all right. It's always like good to know. Like
yeah.
it's always good to know and absorb. And like it's
Mm,
like sometimes you never know what somebody else is speaking, and like that applies and stuff. So it's
mm,
better to just listen sometimes.
mm.
That's what I'm doing today anyway.
Right. So join the classes. If you have any technical questions, always feel free to reach. And of
Yes,
course, we'll be seeing some stories as well. Whenever like 3, 4 classes, we'll see stories as well in
cool.
between.
Thank you.
What
Okay.
is
Yeah.
your work, if you don't mind me asking?
Stories from Puranas, like stories of Narsinghadev, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj. So I'll be starting all of that soon in 2 classes. So we'll hear more stories and we'll try to understand related to Gita and see what we can learn from that story, like how we used to study in childhood. So all when you actually believe in God, all what happened in thousands of years back or millions of years back, so they are documented, called as Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is also given by the same author, and that talks about glories of Krishna in his various avatars. So what all happened? Krishna had 10 avatars, right? In each of the avatar, what happened, how the universe is created. So there are like small stories in between different personalities. So they will guide us how to purify and upskill our spiritual consciousness. You get the point? So right now we are graduating. Bhagavad Gita is like a graduate study. So in the postgraduate study, you will try to go above what you have learned in graduation. So in the graduate study, you purified your consciousness and you have reached a specific level of happiness by practicing spirituality. Now you want to maximize it. You do a postgraduate study. So that's called a Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, we take a lot of the stories and we'll insert it in between Gita principles so that it will motivate people to read more Gita and to pursue deeper study. And then PhD. We spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? That stuff is PhD, Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's the essence of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That's reading that book is the essence of life. So we spoke so much about the science of cultivating love, right? The science of cultivating emotion, the science of cultivating a specific emotion for Krishna. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is nothing but a book on Krishna himself. Krishna came down to experience in his body what Radharani was feeling, right? Because Krishna wanted to experience Srimati Radharani's emotions. So he comes searching for himself. Get the point? So he comes to experience how it is when Srimati Radharani loves him. Okay? So he comes down in his body, carries Srimati Radharani's mood. So now he comes looking for Krishna, how to be a devotee, how to love Krishna. That science is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this information to Rupa Goswami. So Chaitanya Charitamrita has various personalities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a 13-day conversation with a scholar called as Rupa Goswami. And he has documented this information in a literature called as the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Prabhupada has translated it called as the Nectar of Devotion. That is for people who are advanced in spiritual life and they want to maximize their advancement. So that kind of information is there in your PhD studies. So most of us, we are, including me, still haven't perfected graduate study, but bits and there since I've been practicing Krishna consciousness, so bits and there of overlap, I'll get to know something from Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. So PhD is completely Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. So others, if you know, in one of the classes I spoke about, I gave before we started the thematic study of Gita, which will be, so even if new participants come, right, any time of the day they can, any time of the month they can join, they'll be able to get the concept. So we run it in a thematic session. So sometimes people come, sometimes people drop, sometimes people stick on to one group, and sometimes they change groups. So if you see, right, and some the 105 registrations I received so far, but actively people who have joined calls only 30. 70 people, they don't even join the meetings. And out of the 30, only 8 or 9 is constant. So see, today when we started, 8 or 9 will be, and only 4 or 5 will remain. So in between, few people who get inspired, some a few of them got initiated, and some of them joined different study groups. So this group, this is for like youth study where Gita classes will be running. Anybody who wants to know Gita can always join this session. And depending on in what pace they want to practice Krishna consciousness, we guide them accordingly. Because everybody needs varieties, right?
Yes.
Variety is the mother of enjoyment. So we have varieties here as well. So somebody must be focused in roaming, like this type of thing. Somebody must be focused in doing service. Somebody wants to read Gita shloka by shloka. So I put him in a different group because I'm not doing shloka by shloka. So that is how we take things forward.
Yes. Yes. I think so. This really good for me as well. Me like
So
searching
we
for
can
more
feel free to
answers.
discuss any type of questions, any type of religious questions. So there's a forum where you might be interested in, you might be interacting with different people throughout your day. You might be getting spiritual inputs from spirituality is a seeker's journey. You might be getting inputs from different sources. So you can always validate it. The problem is for us, people who are practicing spirituality, some idea has to exist and somebody had to have practiced that for a certain amount of time, only then we will believe. If we are given two different ideas, we won't be able to validate which is right and which is wrong. Not many people are trained spiritually or academically to do that. Even I can't do that because I'm not trained academic. But I can surround myself with people who are actually trained. That's
Yes.
the beauty when you have a spiritual sangha. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So then
Yes.
stay in touch. I hope you guys enjoy the session. So if you think any of your friends will be benefited, or once you benefit, you can, recommend your friends, say that, this how it helped you reading Bhagavad Gita. And either you can always guide them or we can always guide them. So this platform is created to guide people with proper concepts and not just uh, mental speculating religious practice. Okay, so we are here to give you knowledge. Whether you guys
Yes.
are ready to take it is the question.
Yeah, and then I totally understand it. It's like
Yeah,
something like it's totally relatable as well.
Yes.
probably like something like our parents tell us to do every now and then. It's like
Yes.
we find it like as we as in coming here in Australia and like studying and stuff, like seeing different things, and it's like kind of like hard to mismatch like whatever they are saying and interpreting them as well. It's like finding those kind of things. Like I know that they are not wrong too as well, but sometimes it doesn't really make sense as well. And then like at the end of the day, it's like you go to the next day and something happens, and it's like, oh, they've said it, and it's like it's happening something, and like
Only when the thing happens, right? Like we should be like a sponge.
yes,
Krishna will test you how much you can absorb. So we be like a sponge, you absorb, and Krishna will see whether it's love coming out or, okay, whether it's your anger or whether it's your false ego or whether it's your envy or whether it's your pride, what's coming out. But that's all more advantages of bhakti. When you think you're actually devotee and Krishna is helping you, he'll put you through serious mess. During that mess, how much you can remember Krishna, he wants 100%. He's in your heart, by the way. He knows what you're whispering in your heart. He wants 100%, not 99.999%. I can't love my wife for 6 days and love my neighbor's wife for seventh day. Right? So my wife is very demanding. So similarly, Krishna is very demanding. He wants 100% of your heart. So when you chant and when you hear the sound vibrations, it goes and cleans your heart. It purifies all the dust and makes space for Krishna to come and sit inside. Else, if you still have all that attachments and greed and envy and anger, it's like your chanting means you're inviting Krishna, right, to come and sit in your heart. But you're not cleaning your heart. You don't want to clean your heart. You want to lie. You think Krishna will come and lie down on a bed of thorns? No. That is why we have the regulative principles so that we don't get contaminated. So regulative principles, the four regulative principles which we say: no meat eating, no intoxication, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, or even cultured meat when it comes under meat eating, and no gambling, simple, and no sex out of marriage. Very simple. So the moment you come under this regulation, which means the chances of getting contaminated are low. End of the day, it's your free will, right? Krishna doesn't take the free will out of you. You can do whatever you want. But if you are in this regulated atmosphere and have spiritual friends, then your consciousness, the chances of it getting contaminated are little low, provided you have some basic practices every single day. This is the concept of spirituality. So in Krishna consciousness, what Prabhupada has done is he has given the entire package in the name of ISKCON. A lot of people get overwhelmed sometimes by the name ISKCON International. They speak English. They don't speak scriptures. They don't speak Vedas. Why? Our acharyas have given everything inside Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, right? They have read it. Now we trust them. So when my mom come and says, this is your dad, or in the hospital when they come and say, this is your baby, we don't question them. We accept it, right? When my mom comes and says, this is your dad, I don't say, you give me the DNA test as your proof. How will I know I'm born for both of you? I don't ask that. But when somebody says this is God, they ask, I have all these questions. Okay, this is the book you read. Okay, I don't want to read. So that's the whole point, right? So end of the day, yes, depending on how sincere you are, Krishna is after the intention in your heart, right? How sincere you are in your efforts, it what matters. Some people will have genuine situations where they can't practice spirituality. I spoke to a Christian girl who says that every time her mom, she's Christian, but she's practicing, she's chanting. Every time her mom sees her beat back, she gets annoyed. I said, like, okay, what can you do about it? You can't change that. She's your mom. You don't want to upset her. Why don't you chant and tell that you want to go out for a walk and go to a park and chant? Why you want to do it in front of your mom? So that again, the part of the practice is depending on how you want to practice. We tell you how to actually blend in with the environment because when you say you're a Hare Krishna and at a young age you practice spirituality, we have a common mindset in our society that spirituality is for young age. It's for retired life among the community. Most of the people, at that time I'm busy, but it doesn't work that way. Right? We have a lot of stories where age is not a barrier. You can start purifying. We are all here because the consciousness is contaminated from so many lives before. It doesn't matter what age you start here. The moment you start inquiring, okay, who I am, I don't think I'm made for this particular world. What am I doing here? The moment you start have that question, which means your journey has started. Depending on what practice you're doing, your journey is progressing. Depending on whom you're following, your journey will end there, provided you follow that person properly. All right.
Yes.
All good, guys. I think I liked it. It was very interactive sessions. So keep asking questions. And yes, so whatever you want to learn, feel free to ask accordingly. If you're not able to, the last thing what I want is people coming to the class and leaving the class with more confusions. So this class is to clear religious or spiritual confusions, right? So you will definitely have so much amount of data, different perspectives. So try to reconcile, and if you have any questions, it's very important that you get clarified. Asking questions will actually sharpen your intelligence as well. It improves your intellect scientifically. So feel free. It's an open forum to discuss whatever you want. All right.
I
Cool.
have a question.
Yes. What's your question?
What's happening tomorrow at the temple?
What's happening tomorrow at the temple? Sunday feast. It's Ekadashi tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Ekadashi, we observe fasting. A lot of people attend the Mangala Aarti 4:30. They attend the morning program. And then the Bhagavatam class starts at 7:45 a.m. And evening, we have the Sunday feast from 5:30.
Okay.
There'll be food stalls, a lot of kirtans, and the Sunday festival class starts at 6 o'clock. So that's the schedule every Sunday.
All right. Thank you.
I have a question, but it's
Yeah.
totally out of everything.
Sure.
How does like Ekadashi's work? It's like I remember my parents like observing it like 2 weeks back. They were here, and I was observing it with them as well. And like we had like normal like nothing, like just plain food, like no onion, no garlic, nothing, and like just with chapatis and stuff. And
Yeah.
and you're saying like it falls tomorrow as well. It's
Okay.
like
So
every 2 weeks or something.
I'll give you a short answer. So Ekadashi, there is a purpose. There are a lot of different stories. Okay. In ISKCON, I said 4 different sampradayas, right? So
Yes.
inside ISKCON, we observe Ekadashi in the way in which Rupa Goswami says. But in my home, during Ekadashi, they eat grains.
Yes.
But in ISKCON, it was very gross what Rupa Goswami says. On Ekadashi, eating grains is like eating cow's meat. This is exact words from Hari Bhakti Vilas. And imagine, I'm coming from a different sampradaya. How will I reconcile this? My parents eat grains on Ekadashi. So are they doing something wrong? At the same time that they're following Ramanujacharya's rules. Now, Rupa Goswami, a Gaudiya scholar, says that eating grains on Ekadashi is like eating cow's meat. It's like eating cow's meat. I was like, God, this is too much. These guys are too pushy about everything, too much rules. Then the way I reconcile this is the purpose after listening, reading so much about Ekadashi, the purpose of Ekadashi is in that particular day, a fortnight. There are many stories how Ekadashi came into existence. I'm not going there. But the purpose is every fortnight, one day you dedicate your life to Krishna to reduce your bodily needs. And the purpose of Ekadashi is to reduce your bodily needs and increase your remembrance on Krishna. That's it. What you're doing in between is up to you, however you want to do. That's why a lot of people, if you see, this has been diluted, right? Now, if Rupa Goswami says eating grains is like cow's meat, now this has been diluted and lot of bogus understanding. I mean, like apasampradayas have come inside. And okay, one day I will not eat non-veg because I'm worshipping Shiva. One day I will not, no, Monday and Saturdays, I won't eat non-veg because it's for Ganesh. This has been diluted because of different generations. So many people, information kept lost, been losing, information keeps losing. And then this is what it has put us to. This is how it got diluted and say that, okay, certain days of the week, I don't eat non-veg. This is how it has come. But other days, okay, other days you're eating. Other days I'm fine because other days I'm not connected to God. Only these days and day I'm connected to God. So yeah, that's how it has become. So end of the day, yeah, it is what it is. What can we do? So the purpose of Ekadashi is to take a commitment that on this particular day, I will reduce my bodily needs. I'll keep my mind controlled. and I will try to remember more about God and get engaged more in spiritual activities. For example, in Ekadashi, so the one way is to cut our bodily needs is like because I don't eat grains because our body is too used to grains. So that basically gives a lot of satisfaction, happiness. So even without getting what you want for your body, how much you can be connected to Krishna and be happy. That
I
is
can,
the spirit.
I can totally relate to that. I like
Now, if you
it's
want to maintain how much spirit you want to maintain, it all depends on how much love you have for Krishna. Make
yeah,
sense? And
yeah, but
what people say, this is an offense, this is a sin, that's all rubbish.
no, no, it's like I look at it like through like different perspective, like scientifically as well, and like just saying what we follow and stuff as well. But like it's like I cut down on meat like nearly
Mm.
like 3 or 4 years now. It's like 3.5 years now,
Mm.
and it's like the way I used to feel like kind of like heavy and stuff, like scientifically, like
Mm.
speaking and stuff. It's like the way my body was functioning and stuff. It's like after I cut down that, like now it's like I feel like thinking back, it's like
Mm.
it's like I was totally a different person. Now I'm like totally a different just by not even like aligning my thoughts and stuff, everything else, just scientifically as well. It's like you gain a lot as well by not doing stuff and like
Yes.
just practicing like a few things like what your parents tell you. It's like you gain a lot. I'm like, yes, I was an idiot back then I should have done this. But it's something like you gain like in time, I guess.
Of course, that's okay. I have had beef 10 years back. Don't tell me. When you when I retrospect sometimes, it will get too much of regrets. I'm like, oh Krishna. Anyways, I'm happy. Thank you for bringing me here. Thanks to Srila Prabhupada. But that's it, right? Like it's from your experience what you learn. If you
Mhm.
sit and just meditate on your experiences, where all I could have led a better life after coming to Krishna consciousness, you take the lesson and come back. That is called as introspection. That is called as self-reflection. So that is your experience and that is the asset. So whenever you're stuck with something, you don't see what's ahead of you. You see how far you have come. That's the perspective. So Gita changes the way you think. See, Arjuna was confused when he asked the question to Krishna, right? Initially. And after the 18 chapters, his confusion is cleared. So how does it? Because he changed the way he thinks. And Krishna told, this is how world functions. This is how humans live. So now you think of your own, how I should be living. So when you trigger that, all these past impressions that you have accumulated, it will keep coming as flashes. It keeps disturbing your mind. So take a glass of water. Okay. Now that glass of water represents your consciousness. I take 1 spoon of salt and put in the glass of water. You drink it, it's very salty. Now I take a jug of water. I put 1 spoon of salt, less salty. Now I take a big tub of water and I put that 1 spoon of salt and if I drink, not salty. So what's the moment your consciousness keeps evolving, whatever seems as a problem today will not seem as a problem tomorrow. Because your consciousness is aligned with the purpose of life, what Krishna says in Gita. That is why Bhagavad Gita has been relevant to humanity for the last 5,000 years. It doesn't keep changing like iPhones. It doesn't keep, the verses don't keep changing. Every year it's always 722. It doesn't keep increasing to 724 version upgrades, nothing is there. But still, it is relevant for humanity. That is why the book is so special. You can keep it as a companion, lifelong companion as well. And you can take it at the pace where you want. So end of the day, add Krishna to your life in whatever capacity you want. That's the message of Prabhupada. That's the message of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita as well. Okay.
Yes.
All good. So stay in touch if you guys have. So Paulami, I don't have your. I was just checking my contacts. I don't have you in the registry. Are you in the WhatsApp group? Different name?
I am. It's it's ending with 980.
Sorry,
It's my number ending with 980.
ending with 980. How come I don't have? No, I don't think I have your number.
You did text me yesterday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How come? I don't know what name you registered. I just wanted to find out. I texted you yesterday. Can you just reply to my text? I'll see what name I saved you. I texted you, not WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I texted. Okay.